Hey guys, welcome to Precious Cargo. I'm Precious, and today I have Miss Janice King. I am actually going to let her, I do not want to fumble the intro. I am going to let her introduce herself to you all. So here is Miss Janice for you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. So my name is Janice King. I work with tarot, and I work with tarot in a way that is hopefully a sort of transformational vehicle. My work with
Mm.
tarot is not about fortune telling. It's about using tarot as a map of life and using
Ooh,
tarot as a way to navigate through life's energies so that we can do it in the way we want to and get the result in life that we want to get.
I love that, actually. I feel like a lot of the times I am so unfamiliar with tarot. Personally, I don't use it for my personal divination. So I don't know anything about like the suites. And I saw that you offer like many courses on your website too, which I thought was really interesting. I'm definitely going to have to go and click on a bunch of those, which I love that. So please, for my audience, can we have the basics of what tarot is?
Yeah, I mean, at its core is a pack of 78 cards, and those 78 cards are three sections. So we have the major arcana, which is 22 cards, and they are the big rock star cards. So they're the ones everybody knows. They're the ones that are going to show up in the James Bond movie or the horror movie or whatever it
Mm.
is where the media portrays tarot. So the lovers, the hanged man, death, those big guys that everybody knows.
Mm.
We also have the minor arcana, which are the four suits, as you've said. And then attached to those, but slightly separate, we have what we call the court cards, which are the royals. And in each suit, we have a page, a knight, a queen, and a king. And each of these sections do a specific job and they all work together like an engine. So each one has a
Mm.
job that is connected to the others. So we can see the major arcana as the guidance on our journey. We can see the minor arcana as the potentials that we're going to walk through on our journey, on our way to what we want to walk towards. And then we can see the court cards as the roles that we embody within our journey and the way we're showing up on our journey.
That was honestly the best explanation that I've ever received. Like I'm taking down notes because that actually makes so much sense. And I love when you said that it wasn't fortune telling, it was like guiding. Like now every time I've gotten a few tarot readings in the past, and now I'm like thinking back to, oh, okay, I see how that was kind of showing which direction to go in a way.
Yeah.
I'm in Colombia right now, and I did an ancestral healing yesterday, so that's kind of why I'm, like, super discombobulated today, and it's so funny because I literally went into it with the intention to ask for clarity, and now I feel like I wanna do tarot to know what that clarity is, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, tarot can see below the surface in so many different ways. So we can apply it to ancestral work. We can apply it so it
Mm.
can look backwards, it can look forwards, it can look under the surface in the present day. It can explore the energies in and around almost any situation. And it is remarkably accurate in that. So when we use it intelligently as a tool, it can be an incredibly powerful tool for us to be able to find the way forward or investigate what we can't see or what we feel we can't see.
Mhm.
So it's a bit of a little bit of a superpower, really.
Oh, wow, I love that. I have a question for you. So, whenever someone is either looking for a tarot reader or looking to get into tarot, do you feel like I focus personally in the Akashic records, and I
Yeah.
know there was training involved. I don't think you always have to do training, but do you think that someone should look for an individual who has been practicing for, decades or for multiple years? Or do you think that anyone can pick up a deck and just get the information right away?
Choose an experienced reader. for sure. I mean, it's like simple, isn't it? The thing is, you see, that with tarot, look, anybody can use tarot, but it does take experience to understand and get it right. And for me, I bang on about two things. First of all, what we don't want to do, and what I think some people have now come to decide is a good way of reading, is they don't do academic knowledge. They go, okay, well, I'm going to
Mm,
use my intuition to intuit what I think
mm,
the cards mean. I'm
mm.
going to say that I'm 100% not down with that
Yeah.
because
Okay.
has a system within it and it's beautiful and perfect. And when we use tarot, it's doing a job. So it's giving us the baseline information for the reading. Our intuition should be used on top of that towards the client, not the cards. We shouldn't be applying our intuition
Mm,
to cards. The cards do their own job. Shouldn't even be thinking about what the cards mean. You know, like a language. You don't have to think about it. When you're thinking about, I'm intuiting this card means something different to what the book meaning says, then as far as I'm concerned, honestly, you're missing an immense
mm.
amount of depth in your reading because you don't need to second guess your cards. Your cards are correct. Your intuition flows on top. So this takes a bit of experience because
Right.
to be fluid in the language of tarot does take a bit of practice. But again, what we don't want to do is learn the cards one at a time because this is why nobody wants to do it. This
Yeah.
is why people who haven't been learning for a long time, they'd rather intuit the cards than learn properly. And for me,
Mm,
learning properly is not by rote memorization. It's learning the stories within the deck. So when we look at the groups of cards that sit together and form a narrative line and form a story, what happens is when we connect ourselves to the stories are universal, we've all lived them. So therefore, we connect into the cards in a way that says, oh, I feel
mm,
that. Soon as you
mm,
go, that, now you're connected into your cards. Now you have a thing, you have a relationship with your cards, right? And you have a language with them because they understand you and you understand them, and they can speak to you clearly because you have lived them. Because tarot is a lived experience, not a
mm.
memorization exercise. So we want to connect with it through our own life experience. And then what we do is we feel it. That's how we connect. We feel it. And
I
when we
love
show up
that.
for a client, we feel the client
Yeah.
through the bridge that is tarot. But we're
Right.
not reinventing the cards. We're letting the cards do their job. We do ours on top.
Okay. So, are you on social media at all? I see you on TikTok a lot. Like you see a lot of tarot readers on TikTok, and
Yeah.
they actually it seems like now that you've broken that down, it seems as if they are just kind of I don't want to say everyone, but it seems like they are taking their intuition and placing it onto the viewer versus letting the cards say what is happening. And also, I'm a personal believer that an individual experience is greater than the collective experience because it's the individual experience that kind of brings the collective together. And so, whenever they are reading to like group masses of hundreds of thousands of people, how do you even know that connection is even coming to you? And that
Yeah.
was even,
But
you know what I mean?
it's not tarot, is it? So when
No.
you're sitting on the other side of the screen and just kind of quick firing, you can always tell the tarot readers who want numbers because they get paid for numbers, they're going to go
Mm.
real quick and they're putting cards down,
Ah.
moving real quick, and they're not, and they just like, da, 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 and it's quick fire, right? You've not got time to process. So I do a live once a
Mm.
week. Good readers take their time. They take their
Ooh.
time, connect to the client, and they unpack the card properly so that the client or whoever it is they're reading for, I don't do mass readings, right? But when you do a one card live, and you're answering a question for somebody, you're connecting with the question, you're applying the card specifically to the question. So it is absolutely reading for that client. You're not, you're not doing this quick fire thing. That's meaningless drivel, honestly.
Right.
When people do that quick thing where they're just taking, really shuffling the kind of that awful shuffle where it's the casino shuffle, and then they're kind of just doing this real quick. That's not tarot reading. That's not. That's clickbait.
Yeah.
That's a different thing
Ah,
entirely.
and it's so funny too because it's always like, "You have love coming in tomorrow. You have this coming in by." And you know what else I've noticed? You know what else I've noticed? A lot of the times, I don't wanna say I understand well, I can understand why people are skeptical of, like, healers and, like, the work that we do, because a lot of the time, people will put time limits on things as well, and that's a huge I don't personally, in my experience, I believe things will come to pass when they are supposed to. And the other dimensional worlds don't focus on linear time anyway. So how are we even drawing information from something that's timeless and saying, okay, so by May 1st, you're going to have a new car and you're going to have this, and the card said it.
Yeah. I mean, what we can do with, I mean, tarot can be floaty with time for sure, because time
Mm.
is an issue. But what you
Mm.
can do is if you tune into your client and you put time markers. So if I say, and I've just literally just done a reading just now for a guy, so you can say, okay, how will he see the situation in a month? How will he
Mm.
see it in 2 months? And so you kind of connect into a point of time rather than going, how long will this take? You can say, okay, well, what will be happening, all things being equal at that point on his timeline. Now look, the thing is, see, what I think tarot is doing at this point is what it's a bit like AI. Let's be honest.
Mm.
So what it's doing is we are connecting to the predictable patterns of all concerned. So we're all very predictable. We just are. Our subconscious controls about 90% of all the decisions we make, unless we consciously decide to make a different decision. So when
Mhm.
we just let our psyche run on automatic pilot, we are actually pretty predictable. So what tarot is doing is it's looking at all things being equal, everybody concerned, this is how it's likely to play out. We're not going to call it fate. We're not going to do that.
Mm.
We can say these are as a result of our human decisions, and this is the most likely expression of the potentials that are occurring at the moment. Can we change it? Sometimes. We can't change other people's things. We can change ourselves, but it is difficult because we
Mm.
are hardwired as adults to follow a pattern, because our belief systems are in a place, our emotional senses have been schooled. We can change, of course we can. And so what tarot can do is it can give us an objective view, and it can tell us what our choices are, and it can tell us, what do I have the power to change here? Do I have the power to change it? And if I don't, how best can I move through it in a way that is most empowering, in alignment with my best happiness and the happiness of all concerned?
Hey, love that actually. So it almost seems as if I'm a huge astrology follower, which is why I'm actually visiting Colombia right now. I've been traveling along my astrocartography Mercury lines. I'm a writer as well. And
Mm,
so I'm here getting inspiration. And oh my gosh, the ideas are, if you guys don't know anything about astrocartography, look into it, because traveling on your astrocartography is incredible. It's my first time fully like immersing myself and doing it this way. And it's life changing. So,
yeah.
do you almost
Wow.
I kind of feel like tarot would is like your intuitive part of the way that astrology is with the stars. It's a way of like using the planets and using the stars in like a navigational way. It's like, hey, this could come up. Similar to it sounds like that's similar to what tarot is when read correctly.
Yeah, it's definitely navigational. Absolutely. And it's really, really useful for that. But interesting enough, tarot itself is also a philosophy. So
Mm.
is like a map of life. And if we look at, okay, well, what's the goal of this map? Where's the treasure? What is the treasure that we want to get to? Where is the map leading us? So if we think about the map as being our what we want to get to, we're talking boots on the ground life here, right? We're not
Mm,
talking about spiritual purpose, particularly because, in my experience of tarot, what it's telling us is that when we do life properly, the spiritual part of it does sort of take care of itself. The spiritual part shouldn't be our goal. We are human, living a human life, and our job is to do human well. And when we do
mm,
human well, we get happier, we get more abundant, we affect the lives of those around us. We therefore become more in alignment with spirit by default. So when we're guided by this map, the idea of the map is that we want to get to the 10 of Pentacles. And the 10 of Pentacles in tarot is our long-term abundant future. So it is sustainable, it is comfortable, it is full of the people we love, it involves some sort of legacy. And what it
mm,
is we're come from the legacy that we've come from, we're going to improve on it. So what we hand on is more valuable than where we have come from. Building, this is the point of tarot. We're building for the future, not only our personal future, but the future of all concerned. So we want to start with us, but we want to make our lives richer in the true sense of the word. Now, that includes finances as well, but a rich life experience. And
mhm.
a life rich in experience is a life that we can hand on. And we
Right.
can, our children, the people that know us, our wisdom, our all of that stuff ricochets down the line and adds to the lives of everybody. And so the 10 of Pentacles is a massively important card, and that's the goal. But it has to be built on the 10 of Cups. And the 10 of Cups,
Mm,
where we are happy, connecting in love, where we are home with the people we love. We are being supported and are supporting in love. And so that authenticity, that emotional authenticity supports our life in a really good way. So when we build for the future on that bedrock, we're starting off properly. That whatever we build on top, whatever we build financially, whatever we build career wise, whatever we build as far as our material wealth, our spiritual wealth, our life wealth, our experience, whatever we build, we must build it on the basis of a connected, loving life. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to have a particular partner. It doesn't mean that
Jesus.
you have to be married with 2.4 children. But human beings want to connect with each other. We are a species that needs to connect. So when we're
Mm,
not connected, we feel very uncomfortable. We want to be
mm,
happy. We need to be connected in some way to be happy. Now, even if you're somebody who likes to be alone, if you're somebody who maybe your sense of connection is to your intuitive sense. Maybe your sense of connection is I feel connected in with myself to my world, but
mm,
nevertheless feel connected. A human that feels disconnected is an unhappy human. Disconnection is not a comfortable place for us to be. So whatever
mm,
the authentic type of connection for each person is fine, but we need to be connected, and to be connected to our intuition, our intuitive sense, and to each other is our ideal. So,
mm,
you could take a bunch of soldiers relaxing in a bar after they've been on detail, and they are joking together. They've got their arms around each other. They know they can rely on each other, whether or not we like it, doesn't matter. They are in a 10 of cups situation. They are family.
mm.
They've got each
I
other's
That's
back.
great. That's a perfect analogy, actually. Have you published your own tarot deck?
Yes, yes, I have. I have. The
I
Life
love
Code
it.
Tarot. Yes, I have, and it's an award-winning deck, so it won an award as well, which was lovely. And I have an accompanying book, which is Tarot: The Life Code, A Fool, a Magician, and the Secret of Life. So
I'm gonna have
this is
to get all of your stuff. Like, I'm gonna have to. This is incredible. Like, I'm learning so much right now. So thank you so much.
that's my pleasure.
So, okay, so you have the book, you have the tarot deck. When are your live readings? What days are your live readings?
So I read 6 days a week, so I read Monday to Saturday.
Okay.
And you can book online with me. So I read on Zoom. I read for people all over the world, which is, a cool thing. Um,
Yes.
and I do have an in-person studio as well in London, but most of my readings are via Zoom.
I did want to ask, I was saying earlier, a lot of my clients are international. So a lot of my clients are in Asian countries. I've
Yeah.
noticed that, especially since I tap into the Akashic records, that I have a heavy Asian clientele, just based on, I'm assuming, just geographically, and the type of religion or spirituality that is practiced collectively in those areas. Do you notice that you have certain groups of people geographically, like heavier in, like, let's say Australia, or heavier in certain places versus others?
Most of my clients are from the UK, but I do have clients that come to me from the States. I do
Mm,
have clients. I've had people from Canada, from Australia. I
mhm.
read for people regularly in Dubai. It's more to do with how they find me. There's a lot of people come to my lives from India and Pakistan. As the live gets later, then they tend to show up.
Yeah.
And I do have quite a lot of clients from the Indian and Pakistani community. So so that's fine. But not I have people from most communities, and I think you're right. I think that there isn't as much of a stigma about it for them. I
Yeah.
think the trouble is that a lot of the kind of the us bog standard whites, as it were, we have been schooled in, well, it's rubbish then.
Mhm,
And so now this is starting to die away, thank
mhm.
goodness. But, it has been something which I think we've had to try and re-educate. And there are still quite a lot of people who don't want to tell anybody that they come and consult tarot. So they like to
Yeah.
keep it because
Yeah.
they feel they'll be judged for it. Whereas I
Mhm.
don't think that's same in the Asian community. I think it's people are much more comfortable with the idea of oracle and energetic work in that way. So I think
Yes.
we're catching up, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
We're definitely not quite there yet. I'm in Colombia at the moment, but I live in Tennessee in the South of the United States.
Mm,
It is considered the Bible Belt for a reason. There are more, Christian churches on a block than there are restaurants or coffee shops or houses, even. So, yeah, for me, trying to even have, you were talking about connection and the Ten of Cups, I have never personally been able to feel that in my home, but I have
mm.
felt that in myself and in my spiritual home, in my spiritual community that I've spent 2 decades building. And so I think that there comes a time in a spiritual journey too where you just want to stop shrinking yourself and just be fully present in your power and fully present. And so when you have an experienced reader, that is very important. Finding your soul community is very important. Finding your 10 of pentacles, that's I always thought it was the Wheel of Fortune, but you saying it was the 10 of Pentacles actually makes so much sense to me for previous things that I've received.
Most people think it's the world. Most
Ugh,
people see the world card as being the pinnacle. And
ugh.
I talk about this in my book actually. This is something that I disagree with, because the world card is as much a guidance card as the rest of the major arcana. Now, the way the major arcana is normally taught is that it is a spiritual journey to ascension. Okay, so we
Ah,
start. This is how it's normally taught. I'm going to
okay.
disagree.
Okay.
Because I'm awkward, you see, Precious. I don't take anything at face value, and I don't think it works as a spiritual
That's my
journey.
girl. I love it. I love it. I love it.
So the fall at zero is through every card. In my book, we have the Fool and the Magician who stand at the top, and we separate them out from the rest of the major arcana. And then, so rather than reading it as a narrative line, so the idea of the Fool's journey in tarot is that the Fool starts off. He makes his leap of faith into life, and then he has to go through. So he meets his mother, his father, blah blah. Like off he goes. He goes on his life, and then he has all of these lessons that he has to learn. And then as he comes through these all these difficult lessons, and then he comes through the last bit, and he gets to the world, and then he goes back, comes zero, and does it all again. I'm going to tell you that when I read this, I thought, what? What's the point?
Yeah.
So if we can't learn and we can't build on experience and we can't make it better, because that's basically what it's saying, we just repeat the whole thing just again and again and again and again and again, like some awful spiral of misery with little
Mm.
bits of joy sort of here and there. That cannot be okay. I
Right.
cannot accept that as being the way it's done. There has to be more sense to it. So when we look at it as being, and this is how it has shown up for me. So we take the Fool and the Magician at the top, and they are us. So we have the Fool as potential energy, the potential of all things, and we have the Magician as being us, bringing that potential to life in our lives. And then we split the major arcana up into 4 sections. And each of those 4 sections is actually instructing us on our will. Now, it is true that what these sections do is they align to not only periods of our lives. So the first bit, the High Priestess to the Lovers, is our emotional bedrock. We have no control over this initially. This is when we are a child, 0 to 10. The next section is where we learn to drive. This is the Wands section. This is where we start asserting our will in the world. Quite literally, we're teenagers. We're learning to drive. We want to, you're not the boss of me. I'm going to make things happen. We know everything, right? Until we kind of crash and burn a bit, because we have to learn how to navigate that fire energy, which is so hard to control. It takes a lot of experience throughout our entire lives to learn how to use our will correctly to the best effect in our lives, right? So that's the period of about 10 to 20. Then we move into the next section, which is when we get to be more grown up. This is the advanced section. This is when we hit our big life challenges. Sometimes relationships fail. We might lose jobs. We might realize that we haven't got where we thought we were going to get in life. This aligns to the Suit of Swords. So this is when we may be 20 to 30 and then beyond. And then the final section that connects with the Suit of Pentacles tells us, and this is really important, the 5 key life experiences, because it's Pentacles, that we must have in order to create the world that we want to create. And when we get to the world card says, this is as good as it gets now.
Mm.
The world you have created now. This is as good as you have been able to make it now. Now, is this all that there is? Probably not. So now what we do is now we go back to the Fool, and now we revisit so we need to maybe go back and look at our early life. How did that work out? What was our relationship like with our mother, our father? What was it like at school? What relationships did we choose? What effect did that have on our life? Now, what goals are we going to set? Now, how self-reliant are we? Now this is our guidance system.
Mm.
As we take it through. So when we look at those 5 final cards, they're absolutely beautiful, because we have the Star, which says you must have the experience of trust. You must be able to experience trust. What do you trust? Yourself and your connection to spirit, your connection to your intuition. You must have that. You must. You cannot have a successful life unless you can trust at least yourself to be okay, to be able to navigate. If you can't trust, you can't do the next card, which is the moon. So you must be able to experience your fear. You must have the experience of fear. You mustn't turn away from it. Have it, embrace it, move through it because you trust yourself. You can move through your fear. You can see it as the illusion that it actually is. When you're able to experience your fear built on trust, when you're able to do that and move through, then you can experience joy. We can't experience true joy if we're afraid. With the
Mm,
shadow of fear, can't experience true joy. We can see the sun as being in light. We are, in fact, enlightened because we've come through our fear. We're connected to our intuition and we can see life as it actually is. We can see the miracle of life and we can feel joy in that. Once we can feel joy, then we can make life anew. So the next card in a traditional deck is called Judgment. So
mm.
I've renamed it in my deck as Wisdom because Judgment sounds
Ah,
like Judgment Day, and I don't like it very much. We're not being
yes.
judged. We are experiencing our own experiences, and we are then taking stock in a good way. And so what we're doing is we are becoming wise because we have our rich experiences, been through fear. We know what that is. We feel joy. We can use that as our goalposts for life. Am I in fear? Am I in light? How am I? I understand. I've seen both. I know the difference. And then with that, we move into the world card. So we must also be able to experience success. We must know what
Mm,
it feels like to win. We must be able to be able to congratulate ourselves. We must be able to celebrate ourselves, to know that we have done the best we can and
mhm,
celebrate that. And then go, do you know what? I'm not done yet. I've got more potential. So we go back to the four, which is the potential of all things. And we say, more potential is there in life for me? I can always connect with it. And then we go into the
mm,
magician. And then if we go into each card, I could lead you through why each card is so important. But this is our blueprint for life. It's not by default we end up better spiritual beings as a result. But that's not the purpose. The
mm,
purpose is to become empowered in life itself. Then the rest of it, we will, by definition,
mhm,
connect to life and
mm.
spirituality at a higher level.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to book a reading with you. I'm so excited. I just want to go and like, okay, I want this, I want that. I'm going to put all of your information and how to book with you and how to purchase your tarot deck and and book in the show notes for sure. And I will
Sure.
be using them myself. So this book that you have, I know you have a new book coming out. Is this the same book that's connected to
Yeah,
the deck?
yeah.
Okay,
Well,
okay, okay.
the book came out in November, so
Ah,
it's still quite new. So it is out
yes.
now.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Oh, yay, I can't wait. I thought I was gonna have to wait to order it. Okay. I'm so
No, no.
excited. Oh, I usually like purchase everything prior to, but we scheduled this like kind of quick and I was on a plane when I was messaging you.
That's fine.
I was like, no, we're doing this. I love it. I'm so excited about it. I'm so happy for
Well,
you. You know, being a published author myself, I know that it takes a lot of guts
yeah,
and a lot of courage. So kudos to you because that's incredible. Just putting yourself out there, I think, is the hardest part of it, being able to be seen. Just like when you
yeah,
said you have to allow yourself to be celebrated, especially for someone I battled with imposter syndrome for a really long time and low self-worth. And so I feel like having that ability to be seen and having that ability to celebrate yourself, I think that tarot honestly can help empower someone to do that now.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. And what's wonderful about it is that when we learn tarot as a system and as a philosophy, because I mean, I wouldn't want to say this in Alabama, but tarot is in effect a Bible. Okay.
Yeah.
So it may be
Yeah.
a different Bible, but it is a Bible that you can talk to
Yes.
and will answer you and
Yes.
will give you really, really intelligent, clear answers. And so what it does is, in the same way as any Bible, a Bible is an instruction manual. It gives you a
Correct.
set of guidelines and a set of information by which it says you can live your life to the best effect. And
Correct.
so tarot is no different. And when we connect with it in that way, and when you learn it from that perspective, and we look at it as a framework, then actually we start to change because it connects us to, and again, terminology here is interesting because
Hmm.
what most people would tell you is it's going to connect us to spirit. Well, it does. But what it's actually doing, because they're the same, is connecting us to life. Because
Mm.
life is, and we too often see spirit as being separate. And we see it as being this
Hmm.
separate thing, this
Hmm.
embodied force that is just this giant mystery which has all these mysterious answers and it's separate from us. But in fact, life is spirit. We are spirit. We are life. And life wants to express through us. And so
Mm.
tarot connects to that force and it connects us to all of it. So it isn't just good or bad. People, there are a lot of people, especially in the Christian community, say, well, how do you know who you're
Hmm.
talking to? You might be talking to an evil spirit.
Mm.
So my answer is, are you an intelligent person or not? Can you use rational thought? Because
Mm.
you know whether if somebody if you look at information, you understand whether or not this is positive or negative for you. You do. You're not a
Mhm.
baby. You can discern for yourself whether this is right or wrong. And what's really important is that we understand that tarot, in fact, this is where we and Christianity part company. Tarot
Mhm.
doesn't connect with the idea of sin. Okay. Sin is a human
I
concept.
I personally don't either. I think my moral compass might be a little shaky to what some people would consider good versus bad. Like, personally, I'm with you 100% on this.
Hmm. We have to make the decision, right?
Mhm.
We have
Mhm.
free will. That's the point of life.
Mhm.
We have free will. So,
Mhm.
what might be considered sinful in Alabama, if you go to Sweden, they're going to go, what? What is your problem? This is not sinful. This is just
Yeah.
life. So we all have different ideas. If we go to Iran, what they consider is sinful is going to be completely different to what we make in the UK or France or whatever. I mean, we all have to take a value judgment. This is on us. We decide.
Mhm.
In spirituality, in life, all potential exists. And so light and dark is necessary. We cannot
Yes.
just have light because with
Yes.
light we have no choice. We have no nuance. Just become it would be
Mhm.
totally bland. It isn't
Yes.
realistic. We have light and dark. We have hot and cold. We have what we think is good and bad. We learn to differentiate because we gain an experience. And to presume that spirit is only light would be wrong. Does it mean it's evil? No. But we can decide if it fits the bill of evil for us and decide that's
Mm.
not what we want to do. And this is us taking responsibility for our lives and not giving spirit all the responsibility for our decisions. Neither should we.
Right.
We're sentient beings and we are supposed to make decisions. That's the
Right.
point. That's how we grow up as spiritual entities. That's just my view.
I am loving this conversation. It is, I don't want to say super rare, but it is super rare that I actually get to have a conversation with someone who isn't, especially just based on geography of where I am, that isn't very Bible focused and very Bible driven. And that way is the only way, and there's no other way. And I have a crystal ball tattoo And a friend of mine actually almost kicked me out of her house because I got
Oh,
this tattoo. So it, yeah, and that was a really jarring moment for me. And
oh, that's
so
hard.
it is so refreshing. So thank you so much for being here, honestly. Like, this is the most refreshing conversation. And even being here in Colombia, I've met so many deep spiritual people, strangers on the street that
Mm.
I'm having random philosophical conversations with. And even if we don't disagree with the way that something is done or handled, we're still talking about it. And just because you don't disagree doesn't make one person right and one person wrong. And
Oh,
I don't think that right and wrong even, I mean, murder is not, but is it when you know what I mean? Like, there's some things that
yeah, yeah, there is nuance. There is nuance in life,
right,
and it's not black and white. No,
right.
and we have to decide on our own balance, on our own level. We must, because
Mhm.
that's our responsibility to do that. So I think the shame for you, anyone who works in the esoteric world has experienced at some point some sort of kickback from the Christian community. And it
Yeah.
is interesting, it's only the Christian community.
Yes.
I have never had
Yes.
kickback from any other spiritual group at all, ever.
Yes.
I was reading at an event once and I had a guy book a reading with me. It was a live event. And he came
Mhm.
and he booked a 15-minute reading. It was many years ago. And he brought this huge Bible and he just came and sat in front of me and like whacked it down on the table in front of me and said, right, I've bought 15 minutes of your time. Now you're going to listen as to why you're going to go to hell and why you are dancing with the devil and why what you're doing is sinful. And you're going to listen to me for 15 minutes because I've paid for it. And I said, I'm not going to
You're
listen to you. And
joking.
you need to leave the table or I'm going to call security. And by the way, you're not getting your money back. So yeah, he was absolutely
Wow.
determined. He was going to make me listen. So,
Wow.
and I said to him, I said, here's where we part company. See, you're telling me that God
Mhm.
is going to do unspeakably horrible things to me because I have free will and because I contribute as far as I'm
Mhm.
concerned in the most positive way I can in life, but
Correct.
still apparently I'm going awful things are going to happen to me
Allegedly.
and you allegedly. So I'm going to tell you that your God, for me, this is blasphemous. You are
Mm.
blasphemous. You are taking the name of the divine in vain.
Yes.
I think I don't want to hear your blasphemous words. So I'd
Yes.
like you to leave my table.
Yes.
Go and peddle your misery elsewhere
Yes.
because I live in joy.
The
And
funniest part
that's what
about
I
it, yeah, and the funniest part about it is that that is an inclusion, right? That's the love and positivity and whatever, yet that seems to be the most division that I've ever experienced. So, I'm not saying, and I think too, especially with, where I am, a lot of it had a lot to do with, like, controlling, the population and controlling,
yes.
slaves and different things too, and so there is a lot of that still ingrained in the teachings and what people are receiving. I mean, we're not far removed. We're only 2 generations removed from slavery in the US.
Yes,
So
of course.
those concepts and those it takes so long to get stuff out of your DNA, and you
Yeah.
still have that ingrained in your consciousness, in your subconsciousness, in your physical body. So I think that a lot of that religion, a lot of Christianity also has to do with brainwashing in a sense
Yeah.
and control. And this is
I was
it and
recently
nothing else.
well, last year I was in Sweden and we were touring Sweden. There's a lot of esoteric practice in Sweden. It was really positive and really exciting.
Oh,
But we went to this one town I think it was called Linkoping, where they invented the safety match. It was a thing. It was a really interesting tourist experience, and we went and visited the factory where they invented the safety match, and it changed the lives of so many people in the world. Because especially in Sweden, if people couldn't keep warm, then they died. It was a very
oh
primeval thing.
wow.
We take it for granted that we
Yeah.
can make fire, and poor people couldn't make fire, not
Mm.
safely. So there was a kind of a lot of history in the town, and one of the historical texts that we were reading said that when they opened the factories in the town, they needed the people to show up for work really early. They needed them to work for little money, and they needed them to work late, and they needed them to be time conscious and obedient. And it actually said the churches were brought into play to tell people that hard work and diligence and poverty was spiritual. And
Yes.
so and so if that was not the way they were living, then they were sinful people. And it was
Mhm.
purely, they actually said this in language that was very blatant. It was a control thing. The church
Mhm.
was brought in as a way of controlling the population so that they would work in the factory to produce whatever they needed to produce. That was
That's
a
wild.
conscious and deliberate manipulation.
Yes. It's so funny you said that exact situation. I was getting wax before I came out of the country, and my esthetician, I think is what she's considered. She literally said to me, "Yeah, the Bible says we're all supposed to suffer. So I'm teaching my kids that suffering is okay." Those were her exact words. And I'm just like, no, like, no, that is, I'm a frequency person, right? And the level of consciousness, the Dr. David Hawkins black and white level of consciousness. You have your frequency chart. Literally suffering, shame, guilt at the very bottom, and you think that the your God is supposed to want you to do that. No, come on. It logically doesn't make sense. Like logically, it doesn't make
No,
sense.
it's
And I
awful.
think too, when we work in these working realms that are essentially like the 5D or beyond, and so everything that we do is unity consciousness and everything that we do is enlightenment. How are you going to tell someone who doesn't see separation between things and understands duality and the necessity for duality? How can you tell someone so light and that you have to suffer? No, you don't. You don't. You can quite
No,
literally,
no,
once
we're
you
not
reach the
gonna do.
5D, the new earth, you are
Yeah,
experiencing heaven on earth. It truly is. It
yeah,
truly is. And I like you said,
yeah.
with going to, it was the 10 of cups. That is the ultimate.
Ten of
No, no, no. 10 of pentacles. That is
Ten
the
of
ultimate
Cups, the
that we
Ten
want
of
to reach.
Pentacles the Ten of Pentacles built on the
Ah,
foundation of the Ten of
yes.
Cups.
Yes. It's like that is, you can literally experience this daily. Like you don't have to, once you reach these heights and once you reach these levels, you don't have to suffer. You can if you want to, but
No,
like, you don't
no,
have to go through
no,
all
it's
of that.
no, no, absolutely right. And in fact, one of the lessons that the Major Arcana teaches us is that joy is actually not an optional extra. It isn't.
Mm,
It's actually a necessary component of life. If you can't experience joy, then basically you cannot live life to the full. You're
yes.
only seeing really tiny proportion of what is possible in life. And it is a real tragedy.
Yeah.
So many people are brought up with like, well, put your happiness on hold. Now, okay, sometimes we do have to be strong in alignment with a goal, but that's
Right.
different to suffering.
Yes. Yeah. Discipline is completely different than suffering, but I think that they
Yes.
confuse the two.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm really happy that we did this today. This has been so refreshing. I love it. Honestly, I love any chance I get to speak to someone who has similar like experiences with different things. Especially thank you for sharing that story about the man that came to your that book, the mini reading. That was, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's wild. People are wild. It's the audacity. How did you
Yeah.
get into tarot? Like, what was the history behind you getting your first deck? I've heard that I've heard the myth that your first deck has to be gifted to you. Is that true? Okay.
It's just
That's why I
superstition.
haven't purchased one. Okay. Okay. That's why I haven't purchased
No,
one because no one gave it to me.
no, no, no. There is no need for superstition around tarot cards. Tarot cards themselves, the actual cardboard, has no power. It is
Ah.
cardboard. I mean, good
Uh-huh.
quality cardboard and pictures that we can connect with. But let's not assign power to an
Oh.
object. Let's not do that. Now, what we can do is we can say, when I hold this deck, and this makes me feel this my energy is. I can connect with my energy when I hold these cards, but it's not the cards, it's you.
Mm.
That's the point. It's you. The cards are a communication system, and I've proved this 1,000 times. I've been reading for decades. And, I went on
Mm.
holiday to Glastonbury, it was a few years ago now, and I said, "Right, I'm not gonna do any readings, so I'm gonna take a couple of days off. I'm just not gonna read for anybody." I had a client, and I thought, "I'm just not gonna take any decks. So not gonna be tempted. I'm gonna completely step away for a couple of days." And I have a client ring, "Oh, Janice, oh, please, please, oh, please, please, please." And, oh, God, I didn't even bring a deck with me. So Glastonbury and a big spiritual centre. I thought, well, I can get a tarot deck in Glastonbury if I can get one anywhere. So I wandered down into the town and I found a standard issue Rider-Waite deck off the shelf. And I came back and I unwrapped it and I gave it a shuffle and it did the reading. Absolutely no fuss, no muss, no problem.
Mhm.
It is a tool. We want to take
Mm.
care of our tool, right? So we want to honor
Yeah.
our tools. We're a carpenter as long as whatever. We want to take care of our tools. We don't want to abuse them.
Right.
Don't casino shuffle your cards because it makes them into bananas, and it's not. I don't like it. Other people do. It's not my place to say. But if you were to ask me, I'd say you're wrong. But anyway, that's fine. You're at liberty to disagree. However, it makes me cringe when I see someone bending their tarot cards. But it's just my
Like this.
sensibility. Doesn't make any difference, really, energetically. But
Are
you know
you a
what? If someone
Virgo?
goes, "No, no, I'm not. I'm a Pisces." No, I'm
Okay.
not. No, well, there is. I've got to be honest with you. I do have my moon is in. No, hold on. No, my sun sign is in Virgo. So I
Okay.
do have. I do present. I do with a knee, but no, no. My main sign is Pisces. My moon
Okay.
is in Aries. So be careful
Okay.
if you're getting a bit spitfiery. So, but the fact is, any superstition, we have to say, as long as it serves us and empowers us, all good. But if your superstition means that you're going to get left in a situation where I could have said, "Oh no, I can't read without my special deck. My very special deck, the one that has all the
I
power.
see.
I can't read. I've given all
Yes.
my power to a set of cards." Well, I'm nowhere, am I? Right?
Yes.
So ultimately, we like our decks because we like our tools because they're special to us as much as a carpenter might have their favorite chisel because this one just feels good in my hand and I can do
Mm.
the work with this one just isn't quite right. It doesn't feel right. It's the same thing. It doesn't mean that the chisel has supernatural powers. It just means that it feels good so I can
Right.
relax and do good work with it, right?
Mm. I am very I there's a place here actually down the block that has I'm gonna go buy a tarot deck. I just want like I've always wanted to do it but I've never done it because of the superstition. And so now I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it. I
Yeah.
love it. I'm so excited.
Well,
Oh, I
there we are.
love
Well,
this.
absolutely. I mean, I actually don't like superstition. I think superstition is limiting, and I don't like anything that's
Mm.
limiting. Okay.
Ah,
I
yes.
don't want
Yes.
anything that's going to push us back into a corner and tell us where we can't.
Yes. I agree with that 100%. I am going to list all of Janice's information in the show notes. Do you have a website that they can go to directly if you want to tell the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you find Janice King, which is Janice with an IS, like Joplin, janisking.uk. And that's it.
JaniceKing.uk.
janisking.uk.
Perfect. Perfect. And I will put that link in the show notes as well as links directly to your tarot deck, which I am going to order and will hopefully be at my house when I return back from holiday. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to get the book. I am a huge studier. I am a Virgo and I take everything to like the umpth degree. Right now, I'm reading a bunch of like philosophy books. And so it'll be interesting to take the philosophy concept into tarot versus just looking at it as fortune telling, essentially, which is how I was ingrained to believe that it was. So this has actually been
Yeah.
so informative and helpful, honestly, to me, even if not everyone else that, but honestly, this has been so helpful and informative to me. So I really appreciate you and I'm grateful that you're here.
Well, thank you, Precious. And it's been so lovely to meet you. And it's been a
You
lovely
too.
conversation. I've really enjoyed sharing with you and you sharing with me. It's been gorgeous.
Thank you so much. And if you see a notification for a live booking in the next day or so, that's me. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with me. And that is all we have for today's or this week's episode. So thank you guys, and I will see you back when I'm in the States. Love you. Bye.